están, amigos? Bienvenidos a mi canal. En este video tengo a un gran invitado, mi socio y amigo Mike Sherrard. Si aún no lo conoces, Mike tiene su canal de YouTube en donde también comparte estrategias de marketing en redes sociales para agentes inmobiliarios en inglés. Asimismo, tiene su curso de Social Agent Academy en donde tiene todos los cursos relacionados con el medio inmobiliario en LinkedIn, en Instagram, en Facebook y obviamente en YouTube. Y él y yo hemos trabajado en equipo en el curso que yo tengo y asimismo somos socios dentro de EXP Realty. Y en este video nos va a platicar cuáles han sido los pasos que lo han llevado a ser millonario antes de sus 30 años. Así que si este tema te interesa, vamos a ver. Amigos, me da muchísimo gusto que me estén acompañando hoy en mi canal. Para todos los que no me conocen, soy Vane Monroe y voy a estar compartiendo contigo semana a semana los mejores tips, trucos y consejos de marketing digital que van a llevar tu negocio a otro nivel. Lo único que te pido a cambio como cada semana es que me des un like, que comentes aquí abajo, que te suscribas a mi canal, que hagas clic en esa campanita para enterarte semana tras semana de las mejores tendencias de marketing que te van a ayudar a distinguirte de tu competencia. Amigos, y para todos aquellos que no saben, como les acabo de platicar, junto con Mike Sherrard hice mi curso de Facebook Ads y ManyChat en donde te enseño las 5 estrategias que he implementado en mi negocio inmobiliario para crecer exponencialmente a través de redes sociales. Si te interesa que te mande el enlace a mi masterclass gratuito, lo único que necesitas hacer es comentar aquí abajo la palabra masterclass y con mucho gusto te envío el enlace a él mismo. Amigos, y para todas aquellas personas que quieran trabajar en equipo con Mike y conmigo y que les enseñemos todo lo que hacemos dentro de nuestro equipo, el Wolfpack, todos los recursos, sistemas, entrenamientos, capacitaciones y toda esta comunidad que estamos logrando dentro de EXP Realty, que te platiquemos un poquito más de esta empresa y cómo está cambiando nuestras vidas, lo único que necesitas hacer es comentar aquí abajo la palabra agendo llamada con Mike y Vane y con mucho gusto te mando el enlace a nuestra cita. Oigan, amigos, pues estoy súper emocionada porque tengo de invitado a Mike y tuvimos una entrevista increíble. Para todos los que no saben, Mike y yo somos socios de hace más de 1 año y medio en todos estos cursos que tengo yo, mi masterclass y todo esto en equipo. Hicimos este curso con todo este conocimiento que él tiene ya. Para los que no saben, su canal de YouTube tiene, como les dije, más de 40,000 seguidores. También se dedica a hacer este tipo de estrategias y me llama mucho la atención invitarlo al canal para que nos enseñe cómo es que en menos de 30 años él ya es millonario. Y van a ver que lo más importante de todo, amigos, como siempre se los digo, es tu enfoque, es pensar qué es aquello que realmente quieres hacer y que te haga feliz, crear hábitos, sistemas, etcétera. Pero esto me encanta porque es un storytelling de cómo era Mike de chiquito, cómo era un poco inseguro, cómo lo bulleaban y cómo a partir de la universidad empieza a cambiar su mindset, donde se da cuenta que la educación realmente es lo que te va a sacar adelante y cómo tiene un cambio de pronto de ser ingeniero y se viene al mundo de bienes raíces y como a su corta edad, a los 24 años, una de sus debilidades era pues que nadie iba a creer en él, a lo mejor porque era un chavito, pero él empieza a ver que las redes sociales y el desarrollo de la marca personal son algo que empieza a ser una tendencia muy nueva en algunos agentes en Estados Unidos. Entonces él es cuando empieza a desarrollar su marca personal, empieza a compartir contenido de valor en Instagram y empieza a utilizar las campañas de Facebook para empezar a cerrar ventas y empieza a ser un top producer, amigos. Entonces algo que más me encantó de Mike y porque es algo que lo sigo y estamos socios, por esas ganas que siempre tiene de ayudar, de enseñar, de capacitarte y cómo en equipo estamos logrando grandes cosas. Y las 5 cosas más importantes que me dijo Mike y creo que te van a servir mucho a ti en la vida para ser exitoso son número 1, estar enfocado y ver cuál es ese objetivo final que tienes, cual sea que sea tu objetivo. Y luego el número 2 es cómo hacer una reingeniería inversa en donde puedas ver de qué manera puedes ir día a día logrando este objetivo, obviamente, amigos. El número 3 que me encantó también es que siempre te rodees de personas que se alineen contigo, amigos, para poder llevar a cabo todas esas cosas que quieres, porque sí o no te pasa que a veces estás con personas que nomás te contaminan y no puedes tener el crecimiento que tú quisieras. Y otra cosa muy importante, amigos, es que tengas un nicho de mercado, que estés dedicado a ese nicho que tú quieras lograr como emprendedor para poder ser exitoso, porque muchas veces queremos hacer una cosa por aquí, aunque tengas todos esos skills o esas cosas que te pueden llevar a hacer muchos negocios, pero como dicen por ahí, el que mucho abarca poco aprieta, o no siempre. Soy malísima, como saben, con estos dichos. Entonces, este tipo de estrategias, amigos, creo que son los que todos podemos lograr. Y lo que me faltó más importante de todo es la número 5, ser consistente, amigos. Por favor, sé consistente. Aunque te caigas, levántate mañana y vuelvo a hacer, vuelve a intentar hasta que lo logres y siga este camino con paso firme para llegar a esos éxitos que tú quieres. Y amigos, y si cualquiera de ustedes quiere agendar una llamada conmigo y con Mike, por favor déjame un comentario abajo que diga llamada Mike y Vane, y con mucho gusto podemos platicar de cuáles son tus objetivos dentro del medio inmobiliario y que te unas a nuestro equipo de Wolfpack. Así que sin más preámbulos, vamos a esta gran entrevista. Hello Mike, I'm so happy to have you here. You know, I've been waiting for this moment. I think about 2 months ago, I asked you about this interview, and I know you're in a busy schedule. So I'm very, very honored to have you here in my channel. I know a lot of people want to meet you, want to know about you, and how you, I think, and how you have marked my life in a positive way. And I think I finally, at my 45, I found my purpose. Being an entrepreneur all my life, you know, and having success and not that much and everything. But finally, I think because I met you, I'm in my greatest place in my life. So I'm very, very happy to have you here. You know, I care about you, and thank you for being here. So, Mike, how are you doing?
Good. Super excited to be here. It's been an incredible journey, you know, so far. I remember when you first reached out, and, you know, obviously you've got so many incredible skill sets with your marketing background and, you know, your drive and your passion, and, you know, being able to finally have this opportunity to channel all of that into one direction has been incredible. And, you know, you've done unbelievable things in your time here so far. So this is going to be fun. It's been incredible to work together, and I'm excited to chat about, you know, how others can achieve this level of success too.
Yeah, Mike, it's that if anyone doesn't know about our, you know, how we met because like a lot of people look for me in YouTube. I found Mike, and we chatted, and it was like, you know, at first sight love. We can say that, you know, we're like, this little kid just gets me. You know, it's like, and so we started talking about what we can do in real estate in Mexico or in Spanish, you know, speaking, you know, because you had all this in English, and I saw the opportunity in Mexico, and it's been a great journey, and I know it's just starting, right? So Mike, we want to know, like, I know you're such a successful story. You're an entrepreneur. You're 28 years old. You're already a millionaire, and I know, and I think we all want to know what we can learn about you to make that. But first, we want to know, like, how were you when you were a kid? What was your personality in school? You had many friends. Were you a leader? Tell us about that.
Yeah, it's really funny. I was the complete opposite of who I am now when I was a kid. I was super fat. I was teased, bullied, made fun of. I was very introverted. I did play sports. Like I played basketball and volleyball and stuff like that, but I was always the fat guy. And, you know, I never really came out of my shell. I always thought that I was going to follow my dad's path of becoming an engineer like I did and climbing the corporate ladder for my whole life and work at the same company as him. And that was kind of my vision, is to just be behind the computer, grinding away, doing my thing. And, you know, in university, that's when a lot of that changed, when I started reading books and typical stuff like Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Think and Grow Rich, and started realizing that, you know, as I started coming out of my shell, maybe there's bigger opportunities out there to leverage our skill sets and to build the lifestyle we want. Because I had this vision of, you know, being an engineer, climbing the ladder, but I also wanted really nice cars and nice things and freedom and flexibility and, you know, lifestyle. And then I started realizing in university that those two don't usually align. So I started looking at how can I start to maybe create my own business, and never imagined that I would be here, but couldn't, you know, wouldn't change it for the world.
Yeah, and that's very interesting because you know, you meet a lot of people every day, and I do too. And a lot of people are so afraid of coming out of their shell, and I think that's very important. What did you do to? I mean, I know you learned, you read books and all this, but how did you? What motivated you, or what was the thing that gave you that drive, you know, to come out of that? And I don't know, what can you tell people to do?
Yeah, there was a couple of things that really happened there aside from reading and educating and learning and finding out, which avenue I'd like to take. One of the big things was, well, a couple was number one, I had a really strong why in terms of I knew that I wanted to go build something that not only could I benefit from and create the life I wanted, but family is the most important thing in my life. So I knew that one day when I have my own family, I want to be able to give them everything they've ever dreamed of. But also for my parents who, never had money, but were always the most supportive people ever, I wanted to make sure that I could give back to them. And that was like something that really weighed heavy on me and inspired me to, start working on a different level. And then also, inherently, and I think this is actually really important, is that because I was teased and bullied and told that I wouldn't do anything, I had this massive chip on my shoulder where I wanted to prove everybody wrong. And looking and starting to understand what I thought I was actually capable of, I realized that I used both of those as motivations, both a positive motivation to, for the family side and a negative motivation from, my past. And now, that really propelled me forward to the place I'm at now.
Yeah, that's so important because, I get that too, but I was as different as you. I always been like, I want to be I want to be the best. I want to be, and maybe I was bullied because I wanted to be the best. Maybe, I don't know, but and that gets you sometimes you get scared, but all my life I like you, but now that you have this drive and you just want to go, I don't care, I don't really care what anyone thinks about me anymore. I mean, I'm like 45, I have 2 kids, I have my husband. I don't care if the neighbor thinks I'm crazy, whatever. I'm just happy doing what I want, and that's very important. Your motivation and as you said, going out of your shell. So, Mike, tell us. I know you're an engineer, so you went to you finished your university, and then you went as an engineer. Tell us about that, and then why you changed to real estate. Yeah.
Yeah, so I got into engineering and, I came out here to Calgary, Alberta, moved on the other side of the country to, pursue engineering. And, after my first year, I was identified as one of the top employees of 60,000 at this company. And when you are identified as sort of an up and comer, they sit you down with the management and basically say, where would you like to go in the company? And because of reading books and wanting to build freedom, I said that I wanted to get into oil and gas sales because I wanted to be in a line of work where I would get compensated for the effort that I was doing because I was outworking everybody. And they told me that they'll gladly get me there. It would just take 7 years of technical experience. And I gave my 2 weeks notice the next day. So for me, it was really interesting because, my market here in Calgary is one of the slowest markets in North America. So for real estate being tied to oil and gas, it was, what most would consider not the smartest decision. But for me, it wasn't so much about getting into real estate to become a realtor. It was more so becoming a realtor in order to learn marketing, branding, and sales, because I understood that these skills are what every entrepreneur needs to learn. And looking at the fact that the barrier to entry into real estate is very easy in any place. It's a couple $1,000s, a few tens of hours, and then you can get your license. To me, it was a really exciting opportunity. And also this was around the same time that I bought my first house, and I saw how, lackluster the agents that I worked with were. So I figured, hey, maybe something can be improved on here, but also it will allow me to develop these skill sets that I could translate into anything down the road.
Wow. And so and what did your parents say when you told them, I want to be a realtor, I'm not going to be an engineer anymore?
Yeah, they got it. It's pretty crazy because my entire family are engineers. My dad, my sister, all of my uncles are all engineers. Wow. And my dad and my sister were super supportive. My uncles thought I was nuts and sent me emails saying that they thought it was stupid. Now they're clearly sending different emails.
Of course. And now that you have your Lamborghini, of course.
Exactly. So it's, my parents support anything I do. They, as incredible parents, they just want you to be happy. And they saw that, I did have drive to do more than what engineering would allow me to do. So my dad doesn't like realtors, but he understands what I wanted to do. And, he definitely has a different level of respect for what I've done. So it's been a really incredible journey.
And what was the first brokerage you were in? Yeah, tell us about that, because I think it's important.
Yeah. So I was at Remax. I joined Remax number one brokerage in the city, number one offices, things like that. And, I just went there, to be completely honest, because I thought that the brand mattered. I also went there because the guy, as I was getting my license, I started reaching out to like top agents in order to see like what I should be learning. And I met with a guy and he was there. So I kind of just, without doing any research, blindly went to where he was. And within the first 4 months, I left. I realized that there was no training, no tools, no resources, no support. I was the only one using social media. They thought it was crazy. And, there was only one training a week, and the training was done by a guy that hadn't sold real estate since 1998. And it was 2017. So that's 20 years gap. Things have changed, right? So I just realized that, it's not all that is cracked up to be, in a sense of there's more to the story than just the brokerage brand. I realized that if you look at any top entrepreneur, it's more about the personal brand, and that brokerage, just simply based on the nature of how they did business, wasn't going to get me to where I wanted to be.
Yeah. So Mike, so I know you being so young, like we were talking about Noah right now, like he's 20, but you were, how about 25, 20, 25? I 24. Think, yeah. Yeah, 24. Did you have that baby faces?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I know. So how do you start, like thinking, oh, what can I do? Because I'm so young. I'm that maybe no one is gonna, take me seriously because I'm so young. And I know you're smart. You have skills, engineering skills. If you're an engineer, you're, process systems. I know you. So what did you think? Why did you think social media? Were you already in social media? Because like for me, I've never been like a social media person, like just looking but not sharing a lot of stuff. I was very reserved, not now, as you told me one day, nothing it's personal anymore. So were you that kind of that kind of person that was sharing all this information every day, or did you just, it was something you were talking about personal brand? Did you follow someone and you said, I have to do this? Or tell us about that.
Yeah, so I was super anti-social media. I hated the idea of social media. It's really funny because when you see those like flashback posts on Facebook of what happened like 10 years ago, one came up a couple months ago about me making fun of people who take selfies, and now I take selfies every day. So it's funny, but what I did is I understood that there's trends in different industries. And what I did is I understood that, Calgary and Canada as a whole is usually a year or two behind what's going on in the United States. And I started back in 2017, seeing a few agents starting to put out content on YouTube, starting to actively use Instagram, starting to, leverage these things called Facebook ads and use this as a skill set to develop their business. So for me, as a new agent, I had no money. I was broke, but I had time, and understanding that if I use my time as leverage and I invest that time into things that are scalable, then that's what, will help me kind of get over this hump. So that's when I started latching onto social media. And from there, it just completely changed my business. And it was something that you had to develop. I've never deleted the photos. So if you go look, you'll see my first ever Instagram photos and you'll see like how atrocious they were. But it was the notion and the intent of just getting started. And that's what a lot of people fail to do, is they say, well, I'm not going to properly leverage social media until I have this many people or this many followers, or until I have professional this, professional that. But you need to get started in order to actually develop the skill set to benefit from professional content and strategy and things like that. So I was never a social media guy. Now it's my life. And I love it, like because I see how powerful.
Yeah, I know. And tell us about, remember when we spoke and you were the purple guy and you were telling me about your car, your BMW that was purple. And I told you when I had my website that I have a red Mini. Remember I told you, and look, I had like my website, and a girl that she was my designer, she made like all my covers of my magazine. She gave it to me. So it was like my differentiator. Remember I told you, like, it wasn't like when the Mini just came out, I was like, I have to have this. And I understood that will be something that people will see, right? So you were the same. Like you said, I'm going to have a purple BMW. And now that you have a purple Lamborghini, everyone is like, what? But tell us about that. I know you're an icon in Calgary. Like everyone knows you, like, oh, there's Mike, the purple realtor. So tell us about that and how that has changed you in your brand.
Yeah, definitely. Not having any money and not having enough to spend on, mailers and bus benches and things like that, I understood like the importance of leveraging a passion. And my passion was cars. And when I started looking at it, I wondered how I could blend marketing with a passion in order to stand out in a way that I would actually enjoy, right? And that was the important thing for me, is that if I was going to commit to some sort of marketing strategy, I wanted it to be authentic. I wanted it to be a reflection of me, and I wanted to actually enjoy it and not have to like forcefully put out content related to my brand, not enjoying it, but just because it builds the business. So I wanted to have fun with it. And when I started looking at color psychology, I started looking at, purple represents luxury, royalty, which is kind of the experience I wanted to provide my clients. And I decided to wrap my car, not really knowing what it would turn into. And what happened is I started getting all of these DMs from local businesses, influencers, local buyers and sellers saying every time they see purple, they think of me. And it just absolutely blew up from there. Now it's to the point where, like you say, anytime I leave the penthouse here and drive around the city, there's endless amounts of people taking videos, photos. Everybody knows whose car it is.
You're a rock star, Mike.
Yeah. And even like around the world, like I've had people from, South Africa, Argentina, Spain, Australia send me pictures of purple cars being like, hey, saw this, thought of you. So it's crazy that this has now become, like a global brand that people recognize, where you almost own a color, as crazy as that sounds.
Oh my God. Yeah. You haven't told me that before, that you get pictures from all over the place. Yeah. That's amazing, Mike. So now I want to get to something very good. I know you were in boutique, then you changed, you moved from Remax to a boutique brokerage, and you were very happy and everything is going great, blah, blah, blah. And then you hear about people trying to tell you about EXP Realty, right? And you were like, nah. So then this guy comes out of the bloom, Connor Steinbrook, and that he's a very smart guy. And I think that's very important, because a lot of, I don't want to say all realtors, but a lot of people, they're just selling for selling everything, like the cars, the people that sell cars or any product, right? You have to be educated, you have to be smart, you have to have a purpose, an objective, you're right. So he comes to the picture and he tells you about EXP. And so tell us about what was that experience for you?
Yeah, it's, EXP changed my life, but I shied away from it for so long because nobody actually sat down and took the time to explain it to me. They sent me templated videos from other people that wasn't even the person who sent it. They couldn't answer any of my questions. They had no real value on top of EXP. They basically just said, just come join this brokerage, but didn't explain why and how it would apply to my unique business with social and things like that. So Connor reached out, and because people approached me in such negative ways for so long, I blew him off the first time and told him that I was not interested. But, we built a relationship and started talking about ideas. And, I decided to look at it with an open mind after about 6 months of talking with him. And once I saw it, it's like everybody says, you can't unsee it. Once you realize the potential of how you can do the exact same thing you would do at any other brokerage, but just get compensated and make a ton more money for doing that same thing, that's when it just blows your mind. I was the 24th agent at my past brokerage, helped them grow to, upwards of 130 agents. I got $0 for bringing people into the brokerage. Now, it's changed my life financially with what I make for doing the same thing. And as you can see behind me, 2 top producer awards. I've been a top producer for multiple years. I've got 2 little trophies, which are cool for the background. If I was at EXP, I realized that would have turned into hundreds of thousands of dollars. So it was really exciting to also start looking at, what it does to incentivize collaboration and what it does from a value perspective. Because a lot of people look at the 7-tier system and say, well, there's 7 tiers below you. And, I don't like the idea of making money off agents below me. But what people don't fail to understand is that revenue share is simply the company paying you to bring somebody in and to provide value to them. So if you look at our group, for example, there's 7 people above us. All 7 of them are multimillionaires. And the company is compensating them to give you free value to be at this brokerage, let alone the fact that the model already will change your life. When you align with the right group, I started realizing that I would have to pay thousands of dollars a month to get access to these people. and I can have access to them for free just by being in an organization with them. And that's when I started realizing the power of the value you get from above you, let alone the ability to leverage your personal brand, leverage your connections. Because at the end of the day, whether you're at Remax, Coldwell, Sotheby's, Century 21, if one of your friends, colleagues, or connections asks you where you should go, you're always going to tell them the brokerage you're at. So it's not that you have to put out this extraordinary effort to build. It's just I realized that by doing the same thing I would already be doing, I have an opportunity to set myself financially free.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. And tell us about this group that you created with Connor, and that I'm in this group, and a lot of people from Mexico, Spain, Colombia are now joining us. And what do you think as it's the difference between us and other groups? I know there's a lot of groups, but I think, well, in my opinion, I think we add a lot of value, and we're, I don't know, we're not trying to sell you to, come in. And I think we're very, I don't know, like I see in my group in the Latin speaking or Spanish speaking, everyone is so happy to share their knowledge, and when you form this community of people who wants to help, I think that's a very strong thing to empower in a group.
Yeah, definitely. I'll be the first to say that nothing is perfect. And when I came to EXP, I realized, EXP as a brokerage model is as close to perfect as I've found, which is why I came here, but nothing is perfect. So I started realizing, they've got a great system for support, for local support, for transactional support. They've got a great system for, new agent training and traditional training, but they're also lacking in certain areas. They don't have great social media training. They don't have great training to show you how to build a revenue share organization. They don't have intimate support on the other aspects of your business that you need in order to scale your production, your revenue share organization, and your personal brand. They're lacking in multiple areas and retention strategies to actually build culture within an organization. Because being cloud-based brokerage, everybody in an organization is fragmented, but they were operating that way. They were operating in silos. And I figured, well, what can we do to combat this? What can we do to create resources that will fill in the blanks of where EXP is lacking? And then how can we simultaneously build a tight-knit culture that gets people excited about how incredible this is and the opportunity they have to build and set themselves free? So that's exactly what Connor and I did, is just say, we're going to create top social media training, give it to every agent in our group for free, 7 tiers deep. We're going to create a revenue share academy showing you exactly how to build your residual income, investment training, the 4 mastermind calls a week, and everything that was lacking from EXP. Now, when you come to this group, you've got the best brokerage with the best systems to actually scale and leverage what's possible.
Yeah, that's awesome, Mike. I'm so happy to have met you. And well, now the title of this video is How You Became a Millionaire Before 30. Tell us about this. I mean, you wake up every day at 4 o'clock, you go to sleep, I think at 1 o'clock. I don't know how many hours you sleep, but I want to know everything. How can we have that? You have your course, your social agent academy. I'm just behind you. I'm trying to do my stuff in Spanish. You're master. But so tell us all about your 7 income streams and everything. What will what will be your I forgot this word in English. Some tips that you can give young people, or even like my age, older people, to have that success that you're having a millionaire before 30. I'm very intrigued.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me was finding a niche and looking at how could you dominate that niche, but also how can you create a system or a funnel that will allow you to, again, similar to EXP, get compensated as much as humanly possible for doing the same thing you would already do. So I started looking and realizing, yes, the skill set I have of social media can be applied to any industry, but it's important to own a niche so that you become recognized for something and you start to build authority and credibility. And then also looking at how can you create different arms and legs of your business that all incorporate together and go to the same funnel. So if you look at the journey of, how my business works, it's all within the same real estate agent, realtor niche, but I've got different streams of income that are all funneling to the same place. So I make money from my YouTube channel, and then people either go there and then see the value we provide with our group, and then they'll join our group and then they'll duplicate, or they will watch my YouTube channel and then enroll in my training and then use my branding agency, then join EXP, then duplicate. So everything is within the same ecosystem, but it's all in different ways that are kind of unique. So for me, it was just looking at how can I take my skill set and leverage it to the fullest capacity, not just in one lane. And that was important for me to say, in order to scale, you can't just do one thing, but it's important that as entrepreneurs that have shiny penny syndrome, chasing new ideas every single day, that you don't start chasing ideas that don't fit within the niche that you're supposed to be dominating. And once I started honing in my skills on kind of that one niche of real estate, social media, branding, marketing, content, that's when my business changed and 10x'd over the last year.
Yeah, I know, Mike, because since I met you two this year, it's been crazy for you. I mean, I know I'm a step ahead. I'm just like 1 year behind you. I don't care. It's okay. But for me, like to see you when I met you to now, it's like, oh my God, Mike, like you made $1 million or more in your social agent academy. You're making more than $30,000 a month in EXP. You have your agency. You have your shares. You have all these things that you're doing so smart. And but it's not that easy, Mike. Like I mean, you work as hard as I don't know. I know I work hard, but I mean, you're younger than me. I'm telling you. If we met like 20 years ago, I would have
I
worked
wish.
more. Yeah, more. But I think what are your habits? What do you do? Like we talk about this power list. We talk about your schedule. What can you share for us so we can try to do those things?
Yeah, I think it's clarity and focus is incredibly important, because a lot of people get wrapped up in taking these big ideas that they have or these big milestones that they have, and then it's so distant. It's like, even for me making $1 million, a lot of people said, well, I want to make $1 million. It's like, okay, but that seems so far, that's so big. But then when you started breaking it down and realizing, well, that's only like $3,000 a day, then that starts to become possible, because that might be, 3 people buying $1,000 program a day, and you're maybe at 1, and now you just have to triple it. So you start to break it down into achievable milestones that are easier to stomach, so that you can move the needle and take these big goals that everybody has and break it down into something that's more manageable, not just like feasibly, but also mentally for you to comprehend. And then again, I think the big thing that a lot of people struggle with is self-accountability and consistency. And that's 2 things that I've managed to do quite well, is be hyper consistent about everything that I'm doing. Even though I don't know if, when, how it's going to work out, whenever I commit to something, I make sure that, no holds barred, I'm going to be consistent for a long time, knowing that if you're consistent with the right things, it always works out. And then the self-accountability is, again, as you alluded to with the power list, looking at what are the actual income producing, needle moving activities that you need to do every day to get the business rolling. And it's unfortunately what not a lot of people want to hear is it's doing the boring stuff over and over for long periods of time. The not so sexy stuff, the stuff that is behind the scenes, the hard work, that's what it takes to build that foundation. But then you can leverage that in order to scale.
Yeah, I know, because this is very important. The consistency, because I see people, when they come to a group, or I meet realtors or whatever, people that, or friends, even friends that they want to, I want to do a YouTube channel, and I want to do this and that. So they, they're, you don't even know. I don't know what's called I forgot the name. It's a cartoon. Pedro Picapiedra. I don't remember that he's like trying to, go in the car, but he's like, like.
Yep.
People are like, they're like, but they just want to do something, but they don't do it. And then they do one video and they think it's going to be like, oh, I did my video. This is like, I'm going to be $1 million. I'm going to have like millions of followers. And then they're like, no, this doesn't work. And I'm like, well, of course not. You just did one video, and the first ones are the shittiest ones. So you have to work on your ass to have followers. You have to have a value proposition, because if you're just doing something because you don't have passion, you just want to earn money, it's not going to work, you know. It's like, because I see your passion. I think I'm a passionate girl too, and like I love what I do, and that reflects when you're in camera, right? So people, like, I get messages, some people like, oh my god, I love the energy, I'm engaged now. You're having no subscribe, and you're the same, like, because you want to add that value to people so they can learn from you, and also you like to learn from other people, and when you're humble also, it's very important to have that. So I know, Mike, I know I don't want to have more of your time, but I know just like 5 things I should do, or anyone should do, to be successful before 30, before 40, before you die.
Yeah,
Whatever.
that's a great
Yeah.
question. Yeah. Let's see
Yeah.
if we can come up with 5 things. So I think the first thing is, again, identify what your long-term goals are. It's important, because if you don't have a goal, if you don't have a vision, you have no idea what you're working towards. Now, the second thing is reverse engineering that into a daily actionable schedule that will actually allow you to work towards achieving those goals. Now,
Mhm.
the third thing for sure would be making sure that you're consistent with the right things. The fourth thing
Mhm.
would be honing into your niche and staying focused. Because again, when people
Mhm.
are always, the unfortunate thing is that as entrepreneurs, you develop these skill sets that are applicable to so many different industries. And you say, well, this new opportunity came up, I could make money there. This new industry came up, I could make money there. And you start looking at
Mhm.
the opportunities that you could go do. But the problem is that takes time, and time is the
Yeah.
most precious commodity in the world. So when you take your time away from dominating your niche to go do these new things, you're actually losing money instead of making it, even if it is slightly profitable. And then I think the last thing, again, is aligning yourself with the right people. It's made a world of a difference for me to align myself with people like you, with Connor, with people that, again, have skill sets that fill in the voids of your weaknesses. So I know
Mhm.
my strengths, but I'm also very well aware of my weaknesses. Just like anything, nothing's perfect. And I know that Connor fills in a ton of voids that I don't have, which is why we work really well together. You bring a whole other skill set, a whole other language to the opportunity. So by aligning yourselves with the right people, you have the ability to just completely amplify and exponentially scale, what you would be able to do by yourself.
Mike, I love it. I think I can be a millionaire soon then.
You will be. I can't
I know,
wait.
I know I can. And you know, Mike, I think for everyone watching this video, I mean, I want to invite them to our group to learn about what we're doing differently, how this changed my life, how this opportunity changed your life, and how we're growing as persons, as entrepreneurs, and bringing value to our life. I mean, that's the most important thing, to have value, to have excitement, to have friends, to have motivation, right? And also have money, of course, so you can do whatever you want and be happy with your family. So, Mike, thanks a lot to be here with me, and all the people that are. I hope they understand English. Yeah, yeah, and I will have subtitles. But thanks a lot for being here. You know, I really appreciate it, and I send you a big hug to Calgary. I will give it in Vegas. I will give it in Vegas. I'm afraid because you're gonna be like this huge giant, and I'm gonna be like this mini me.
I can't wait.
That happened to me when I met Ismael. He's like so, like, oh my god, you're tall. And you're like, oh, you're like so small.
Oh yeah, it's going to be a great
Yeah,
adventure, and that's the thing, is we actually get to have fun while building this business.
I know. Thank you, Mike. So see you soon.
Thank you, guys. Peace.
Amigos, espero que les haya encantado esta entrevista tanto como a mí, que la hayas considerado de valor y que veas cuáles son estas 5 cosas de las que hablamos al principio, que estoy segura que cualquiera de nosotros podemos lograr, como se lo dije a Mike. Amigos, lo único que les pido a cambio, como cada semana, es que me des un like, que comentes aquí abajo, que te suscribas a mi canal y que hagas clic en esa campanita para enterarte semana tras semana de las mejores tendencias de marketing que van a llevar tu negocio a otro nivel. Así que, amigos, nos vemos hasta la próxima. Bye.